All right. Good morning, everyone. We're live at Temple University, Circ 306, or the Science Education Research Center 306. And today we're going to watch our Capstone final demos for Section 1. So you're probably, if you haven't been with us before, if you haven't heard of what a capstone is, the capstone is designed to be the culmination of all of students' learning throughout their semesters here, and all previous coursework outside of the, and also outside experiences as well. So if they have internships or hackathon experience, any experiences we kind of try to bring back into the classroom for their final projects. So they have to build this final project, a software project, as a team, which is not as easy as it might appear. So Temple has a really strong, deeply rooted motto called Perseverance Conquers, coined by Russell Conwell. And through consistent effort and determination, individuals can overcome obstacles and achieve their goals. My students prove this to me every semester as they pull together these tough projects after just 16 weeks. So one of my goals as a instructor is to make sure that students, actually work on really challenging projects that can really show off their skills and that they can take with them after they graduate and maybe go to industry or into a master's or PhD program. Wherever they go, they'll know that they can kind of achieve more than maybe they thought at the beginning of the course. Students heavily collaborate using modern industry software such as Jira, Jira for project management, for planning, estimating their projects, workload, and students integrate all their codes through tools like GitHub, which I'll talk about in a second. But this software development isn't just coding or project management. They also are asked to do a lot of documentation. It's a writing intensive course, so I have my students present their documentation as websites using a modern tool called Docosaurus. So we ask them to work through from requirement specification to architecture documents to design API specifications. Just all of these assets are in Docosaurus. And like I mentioned before, students heavily collaborate using GitHub as well. So they're working as multiple different entities and working on these projects. They have to communicate their changes. They have to integrate their changes. They have to put these changes together. So they're doing all that through GitHub. And they're using a lot of modern tools that they choose many different tools such as modern frameworks like Next.js or React for developing web apps. And they even take on the challenge of learning technologies that have like a steep learning curve, such as Docker. And many of the top languages used in the class we're not really even covering in our core curriculum. So students are able to adapt to these new languages and technologies because they've been challenged along their 4-year journey by our Java and Advanced C courses. And they can typically take a lot of experience from the outside of the course and bring them here. I don't really stop them. So you can see, JavaScript is a top language. TypeScript is probably somewhere second. It's just a lot of different languages. So the really exciting thing about this semester is that we actually have 12 projects, which is insane. Typically, I only maybe cover 8 projects. Now we have 12 projects. So you're going to see 12 projects today. These project topics are deeply rooted in human-computer interaction research, exploring how users engage with technology in educational, creative, and security-focused contexts. AI intervention techniques in education focus on how artificial intelligence can support and enhance learning experiences. Collaborative AI systems explore how AI can work alongside users to create and improve content. And alternative augmentative communication games focus on creating accessible, engaging tools for children with communication challenges through games. The AI intervention techniques in education projects explore how artificial intelligence can support and enhance learning experiences, and collaborative AI systems projects examine how AI can collaborate with users to create and enhance content. So this session, you're going to see Clover, Scribblers, EduCode, and StoryQuest. Later today, you'll see, if you tune back in at 12:30 to 1:50, you'll see Piggyback Learning, Order Up, Piglet Prep, and FeedStack. And you can rejoin us again at 3:30 to 4:50 p.m. For Story Builder, G-Code Guard, Story Builder again, and BioGenie. All right, and without further ado, I'll introduce the Clover team, and we'll just get started for the day. Thanks. All right, good luck.
Hi everyone, my name is Antonio. This is Jack, Jamie, Nick, and Sophie, and today we're going to be walking you through a demo of our app Clover. So Clover stands for Copilot-like Open Visual Extension for Reinforcement. It's a VS Code extension that allows students to experience working with a Copilot tool without totally relying on AI-generated code. We built it with the idea, or keeping in mind designing it for new coders and to allow for AI code integration without sacrificing comprehension of topics. So a little bit of background for people who aren't totally aware of what IDE or Copilot is. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, which you can see on the left. It's basically where you write all your code. You can get extensions in there. One of those being Copilot. You can see a screen grab of Copilot on the right. What it does is it will detect what you're coding and will give you intelligent finishes to your code. One thing it doesn't do though is keep track of what you accept. So that's what our goal was with Clover, was to allow for some incorrect code to purposely be given to the user so that they make sure that they're comprehending what they're coding. Got one more. And then our goal for the whole project was just to improve new coder knowledge of different programming languages by using AI as a way to learn rather than a crutch. We also want to implement a system that provides these intelligent code suggestions but requires a user to fully understand the code they are getting suggested before it's placed into their project. And at the end of everything, we just hope that AI coding assistants could still be used by new programmers while still promoting learning and good programming habits. So I'll hand it over to Jamie. He can start the demo.
Okay. So, hello everyone. So my name is Jamie, and I will demo this Clover as the main user, which is a student. So in order to use Clover, so first of all, we need to open Visual Studio Code, which is the one that you're looking right now. And to use Clover, we need to install Clover. So to install Clover, we're gonna go to the extension or the plugin from VS Code and search for Clover. And there's a few options right here, but the one that we have the template name in the name. You click on that, and because I already installed that, so if anyone need to install, they're gonna have the install option here. It's really easy to do that. And also because I'm using in VS Code, we have some plugin that allow to like get the suggestion, the code suggestion. So if I have some of them in here, I need to make sure that I disable them first before actually using Clover. Okay. So now everything already set. I will now try to use Clover, and let's open the file. So in order to use Clover, I need to sign in, and even if, because sign in is really important for me to keep up with all of my data when I'm using this. But even if I forgot to sign in, the IDE will tell me to do that. But now, let's say I will sign in as myself, Jamie. Alright, and now I sign in successfully. So in the bottom left, I can see there's a select classes. So I can use this ID as like non-class user, or if I join some classes, it will always show here. But for now, I will use as no class. And I will try some suggestions, let's say. So I try to get a function to sum two numbers, and you can see here the IDE Clover give me the suggestion that return a minus b, which is a wrong suggestion. So this is a part of Clover that is different from Copilot, because Clover intentionally sometimes give you a wrong suggestion to see how the student actually pay attention to the code. And I look at this and I can say, hey, if I want to accept it, I can hit tab on my computer, or I can reject with control command R if I am a Mac user, or if I am a Windows user, I will have to press control space. Alright, so let's say if I accept this one, and the IDE will tell me now, hey, there's something wrong with your code. You need to make sure that you accept the right one. So there's a few options here. I can either click on review the code, and it will show me the right one and the wrong one, and also the brief explanation of why this is wrong. So is it clearly wrong because I try to sum two numbers and not minus? Let's try another one. How about I try to test if the number is even? So there's another suggestion here, and you can clearly see that this suggestion also wrong. And disclaimer, for the purpose of this demo, we set the suggestion like always wrong. So that's why this second one right now is also wrong. And again, there's another option here besides review code. I can also correct this code by myself, and I know that if I want an even number, I need this to be 0. And I submit that, and it's correct. Alright. So if, as a student, if I am somehow accept so many wrong suggestions, the IDE will need to like slow me down a little bit. So right now, let's say I have a few classes in here. If I click on this one, I know in this class right now I am being slowing down by the IDE. So what does it mean is slowing down? So I try to find a maximum in an array. And you can see now that the IDE doesn't give me the suggestion right away, but it tells me I need to do something here. I need to hover in this text, and then look at the arrow sign. I can now switch between these suggestions and try to see which one is the correct one. Let's try this one. Okay, I was wrong again. And now, even after I've been slowed down by the IDE and I keep getting the wrong suggestion, I'm now being locked by the IDE. So what does it mean locked? So let's go to another class here. So in this class, I am now being logged. Let's go for a function, a simple function. And you can kind of see here, even when I'm typing it, the IDE keeps telling me I am now being logged by the IDE. I cannot get any suggestion anymore, even hovering that. So I can click on it to review, and that will bring me, if I click on open, it will bring me to the dashboard that I can review myself. So this is how the dashboard looks like. So this is why I mentioned earlier that it's really important for the user to actually sign in, so that when I use the Clover, it will keep all of my data here. So right now the dashboard, it shows me all of the how many suggestions that I already accept and how many is correct and my accuracy. And I can also see some of the data that like I can see how many that I actually accept or reject over time, and I can have more information of which code I accept. So this one here I accept without the bug, and this one I accept. This one I accept with the bug. So I can kind of like review more in the future. And by the way, if you remember earlier, I have a class that I am being logged, which is Clover. So now how can I unlock myself? To unlock myself, I need to go to review, and then again, I need to find my class, which is Clover, and then I will click on generate. So this quiz here will also be generated by AI, and in order to unlock myself, I need to pass the quiz. So let's try this quiz. And after I finish the quiz, it's 100% correct. I am now unlocked myself. So if I go back to the dashboard and I click on Clover again, I can see now I am being an active student. And if I go back to the extension, let's try this one. Let's say again, add to number. And I'm getting a suggestion again. So that is the part of the student. So we also have another role here for another kind of user here, which is an instructor, and Nick will take over from here.
So hi everyone, I'm Nick. So I'm an instructor in our Clover system. So let me go to our dashboard, and here you can see all of the data about my students in my classes, because I'm in all of you. I have a few different sections I'm teaching. It shows some data about whether they're accepting correct suggestions and incorrect suggestions, and showing that over time in different styles. And then I can also go down to the bottom and see insights based on specific students for each class, showing their name, their status, and their accuracy. Going into it shows their individual student dashboard for that section that they're in. And then if I want, I can go up and I can create a new class. So I can go intro to JavaScript, CS 1056, and then this will be the summer section. I can choose a color to help it be distinguished from other classes. So purple here, create, and then the student such as Jamie will be able to join that class.
Thank you, Professor. So let's try, as a student, again, I will try to join the new class. So the new class is right here. They already created it. I can click on register, and now after I click on register, I will be put on the wait list. So Professor, can you help me into the class?
So to let Jamie into the class, I need to go into my profile and see the rest of my classes. And here it's distinguished by a red blinking dot. That means students need to wait to be let in. And I can accept Jamie, and then he can go on and start coding in my section.
Thank you, Professor. So let's say if I am now in the class, so if I refresh this one, and I can see into the JavaScript is now I am in the class, and if I go to my extension, I can also see the class right here, and I can start using Clover with the new class that I am in right now. And that concludes our presentation of the demo for today. So if you have any question, please let us know.
Fantastic. Sorry, I forgot that I have to be asking questions too. All right, so I know that the stream is really delayed. I'm not sure how many people are actually watching, so I'll just kind of keep an eye on the stream if anybody asks questions there. But that was really awesome. Steve, do you have any questions to start, or?
Yeah, sure. I feel like every one of these demos, you guys are just way going above and beyond the things that we're asking for and looking for with this project. So, y'all have done a great job. I think I have a really good sense of all the features and like many more features than we've even asked for this project. But one thing I wanted to ask a little bit more about is how you're doing the configuration. So it looks like it might be configured based on the class. Is that right? So each class has like different numbers of suggestions or something else. Is that right?
So it's not actually like just based on the class. Like I did earlier, I can also be like in no class. And let me go.
I mean, I guess my question is really around like the percentage that you're getting incorrect suggestions. Is that based on the class? Is that based on the individual? Can that be configured either way, based on the student or based on the class, or?
Yes. So if I am a student, I can see all of this is really based on, this is my data only. But if I click on the class, it will be based on my data in this class, or is it my data in no class. If I am in a instructor dashboard, this will be based on the instructor class. So like he can either view all of the classes that he has, or he can also go to a specific class that will also see the student in here as well.
Yeah, so let me clarify. I guess my question is really around like how do they configure the class?
How do they configure?
So like we're seeing like the results.
With the amount of bugs and everything, the admin field.
Yeah, but more of like
Wow,
how do
so-
they configure for the suggestions?
Yeah, so we have a separate view. We didn't show the demo, but don't know if you if I go into my account, I believe I'm having yes, okay, a little bit. So we can go into each user shows data based on them, and then all the way at the bottom we can configure.
Oh, this is incredible. Yeah,
information, chart,
perfect.
investigation, stuff like that.
That's awesome to see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Put it bigger, not bigger, easier to see.
Yeah, and I think the way that, I know we've talked about being able to click on the incorrect ones and getting the pop-up of like what was incorrect and all.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well. I know y'all did a great job with that. And then the quiz too. I think that the quiz being in the web app as opposed to like in VS Code, I think was also a really good decision. I know something before you had a little bit of that in the VS Code. I think moving it here makes a lot of sense to get them unlocked. You may want to have some way of kind of like linking those two, so as they're working in the web, VS Code, being able to click on something and take them to the web app, I think will just make that move smoothly. But yeah, really great job.
What was the most challenging aspect of this project? I feel like there's probably a bunch of things, but what was the most challenging?
Another thing that frustrated me the most was like getting the AI to give you what you wanted. So if we pass in a suggestion, having it output it correctly and being consistent with that was a difficult challenge.
How did you manage to do that?
It's a big string that always goes in and just makes sure, like basically telling it it's the system and it needs to do this, and then after that filtering that out based on like bugs we've seen.
To add to that, so right now when we try to send a prompt to the AI, it kind of I'm not sure if actually like we actually send the wrong prompt, or the AI that we're using right now is actually like a low budget AI. So like sometimes you can see it doesn't really give you the result that we want. So that's one of the things. And also another challenge is the data. So we kind of like go with the flow. Like we figure some data already, but then as more and more feature that we added in, that we need to like change the data, change the database, and then we need to configure all the thing again and try to factor the right data. So it's really yeah.
Sort of a weird question. If let's just say, because this is amazing by the way, if you had this in say software design and it was configured for the course, what would how would you? And I know it's your project, so you're going to say absolutely, I love it. But would you have? How do you think you would have interacted with that course? How would it have changed your experience? Or how could it possibly have changed your experience?
Yeah, I think to correct that a little bit, I think if I had it in my class, I would hate it. I just like being locked out sometimes and stuff. But I do think having it there and being able to explain things to me, what I'm actually doing wrong, like right in the IDE, would be a little bit helpful.
Do you think it would have made a difference, say, had you been taking the course like an online version versus being in the classroom? Would it have changed the dynamic for you in a positive way, or you still would have been like felt like you were being encumbered?
I think it kind of depends on like what the professor would set the bug threshold to and everything. Because like if I was using it on software design, which is like a kind of an upper level class, and every time I coded I was getting wrong suggestions, that would be kind of annoying. I think it would kind of depend on how the professor configured it. Like, yeah.
I honestly think this is amazing. It's very, very cool. I mean, there's a lot of great information that's going to come out of this, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's also could be an incredible teaching tool.
Yeah. Does the class have any questions? You're free to.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's undeniable. Okay. All right. Would you recommend other students work on like AI projects in future capstones? Like, because you guys kind of chose this project, what made you gravitate to this over some of the other projects? And do you still like stand by the AI project was cool enough to join in? Or is not cool? Not.
I mean, I will recommend like try everything. To me, right. I mean, AI is really hot right now, but this isn't not necessarily the reason that you should choose the AI project. But for me, I chose this one. It's just because like this is the first time I actually do AI in my project. I never did it before. So I recommend if you never used AI before or you never have AI in your project, I recommend you do it, try it, see if you actually like it. Because I know a lot of students like coming right now with the AI and say, yeah, I don't like AI, I don't like it. But they never did it before. So how do you know exactly you don't like it, right? So my suggestion is just try everything.
That's just a good word of wisdom for everybody. Yeah. Well, great job, guys. If there's no other questions, fantastic. By the way, as you're like promoting back, there are cupcakes and cookies. Feel free to It's all there. All right. Next up will be Scribblers. So Scribblers, come on up, and we'll get started.
Just gonna do a little test just to make sure our audio is working okay. Okay. No.
Are you sharing?
Yeah. Am I?
Oh, this turn up.
Yeah, you see. You see.
Welcome to Scribblers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That doesn't.
Hang on.
Okay.
Dear Father.
Welcome to Scribblers.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Scribblers.
We will. All right, take this. All right. Welcome everybody. Good morning. My name is Ken. This is Terrell, Lincoln, Dex, Basil, and Isaac, and we're here to present our game Scribblers. Now, what Scribblers is, it's a Pictionary style game that incorporates the use of augmentative and alternative communication. AAC, or otherwise known as AAC. AAC being a form of communication that people with special needs will use, or children who have trouble speaking. They will usually own a device that's installed with specific software that includes pre-selected prompts. It'll have buttons, and with those buttons, there will be images and words, and they'll be able to select those images and words to use text-to-speech in order to communicate more effectively. The way we incorporate that into our game is through the actual gameplay. And to describe more as to what the Pictionary flow will be, is there will be drawers and one singular drawer for be specified. There will be a drawer and there will be several guessers. Now the drawer is given a prompt, a word and an image, and they will continue through the game drawing their image, while the guessers will attempt to guess using the built-in AAC board that we have for our game. Now, without further ado, I'll let Dex continue with the user flows that we come up for this presentation.
All right, so here's the home screen. And let me open the settings to show you what you can change. So here there is a speech option, so you can turn that off.
Speech off.
Or turn it back
Speech
on. All right, and as well as change the volume. And you can change the background opacity if you just want to make it opaque and not see the background.
Close settings.
And in the top right, we have an accessibility menu where you can do things like invert the colors or use high contrast, as well as change the text size. I'll turn everything off for now. And yeah, so let's create a game.
Create
so I'll
lobby.
Create lobby, and I'll just do 2 players for now.
2
and
players.
I'll just do 2 rounds, so we each have a turn guessing and a turn
I'm
drawing.
playing 2.
So I'll join as the
Gorilla.
gorilla, and launch
Launch
the room.
room.
So here we have the game lobby screen where you can see the room code. You can click it,
Triangle, heart, rectangle, diamond, triangle.
and it'll say it out loud as well as the players in the rounds. So, all right. So Vasil joined. So let's start the game.
Start game.
All right. So while I'm waiting for Vasil to draw, I'll explain the AC board. So here we have the board with the possible guesses. So this looks
Food.
like it might be, I don't know, banana.
Banana.
So that was incorrect, and the guess board is disabled to prevent guess spamming. And now this is clear to me that this is a carrot. So I'll click carrot.
Carrot.
All right, and I guess correctly. So it's my turn to draw now. So I'll draw a hat.
Red.
And oh, I don't want it to be red, so I'll clear the
Clear
board.
board. Black.
Maybe make the
Change size.
size a little bigger. And I will draw a hat. All right, so you can see the leaderboard here. It assigns scores based on how quickly the guessers guess. Here we're tied, actually. We guessed around the same amount of time. But yeah, that was a fun game.
Hey, you guys playing Scribblers right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
You guys want to join my game? Let's just do like a quick 1 round game.
Leave
Sure.
lobby.
All right. Whenever you're ready, I can tell you the code.
Settings. Speech off.
All right, I'll join, and yeah, I'm ready.
All right. The code is diamond.
Oh, let me undo that. I did the wrong character.
The code is diamond octagon.
Oh, I messed up. Let me clear it. You
All
say it
right.
again?
It's diamond octagon star octagon octagon.
All right, I'll join as gorilla.
All right. Everyone ready to go?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so while he's drawing, I'll explain the guess board on the right. So you can see the room code as well as the timer and what round it is. And each of our avatars are displayed here with our guesses. So Isaac guessed hat, and you can see that Vasil is drawing. And I haven't guessed yet. So I will guess, this looks like an elephant to me. All right,
Just fun game.
fun game.
Yeah. Let's do a quick another game real quick.
As we're finishing up this game, we also wanted to see if we could include some of the stakeholders or have the professor even play the game. We'll have our decks post a lobby. He won't be playing the game himself. He'll just host it for you guys, and you guys can join up. You can just go to Scribblers game.fly.dev, and if you need any help with that, any setup, just let me know. Okay.
Swear.
As soon as everybody joins, let me know if there are any problems or if I come over and see what they should do.
I'm definitely. All right.
All right. Does anybody else want to join, or
We currently have the lobby set up
for four? Let's see.
So
All right, you're in. You guys ready to start? Oh, one more. Okay. All right.
we did want to do this fun little segment for you guys just because we got to work a lot better yesterday. So there is anything that shows up, we can come over and problem solve as well.
Oh, no. Really hard. Okay. All right. All right. Now don't guess all at once. That's it.
Oh, wait,
It's got killed it. That is.
that might be our winner. Unless anybody can pull through right now.
Oh. Oh, no. You really threw us off.
Unfortunately, we didn't count for sabotage as the drawer.
All right, who was Cat?
Yeah.
No, that was
All right, Cindy was the winner.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the game. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to ask. And yeah, also, after I guess this presentation, if you have any questions, Ian has our emails, so feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Okay, I just want to start by, I really enjoyed the audience participation part. That was really fun. So yeah, just want to leave with that. That was really cool. Let's think. So what was like the most difficult or challenging aspect of making this particular app?
I want to say displaying every single piece of data, like user specific and like room specific concurrently. Especially since we have so many things going on, like the timer and like being assigned who is a drawer, who isn't, just having different views for each one and making sure they're displayed all correctly as the game progresses.
Yeah, definitely the live data and updating every user. The drawing, sending the broadcast data, sending the drawing data so it's broadcasted live to every person, making sure the timer's in sync for everybody in the lobby, and making sure all that works independently in individual rooms as well.
Are you using sockets for that, or how?
Yes, yeah, we're using WebSockets for communication.
Is it like classic WebSockets, or is it like a library like socket.io?
It is
We're
socket.io,
socket.io, yeah.
yes, yeah.
Just a follow-up question. What was that like? Would you recommend using socket.io?
Yeah, this is pretty interesting, but yeah, it is a very user-friendly, beginner-friendly WebSocket library. It is very intuitive just to be able to send communication to the server, have the server process it, and then send it back to whoever you specify.
Two quick questions. One, so I saw the timer. We didn't, sit and wait for the timer to go out. That would have been, kind of agonizing. But what happens when that timer runs out?
So when the timer runs out, there is a message. You did see that everyone guessed correctly message. So a similar message will pop up saying, "Oh, the timer has run out," and then it'll just switch the drawer, and the guesser rules as normal.
Okay, cool. And then for the AAC board, did y'all create that yourselves, or did you use any, open source libraries for that? How'd y'all include that in your game?
We created it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, we went through, we used other AAC boards as references, and then we went ahead and did that ourselves, had the text-to-speech set up, linked up with that, and just included all the images.
We also use opensymbols.org,
Okay. Yeah, great.
which is a great like source for images.
Awesome.
I could do a quick question. I guess I have two. So, regarding the sockets, so with the drawing itself, what's being sent?
It is the actual, so how the canvas works is when the mouse is down, it calculates the position of the mouse and then it draws a line. So what it does is it takes those coordinates and it broadcasts it to the server and all the other users.
Oh, so they're all being drawn in parallel. So it's
Yes.
not like sending. Okay.
Yeah, they're drawn
It's
with
not
the
like an
coordinates.
adjacency matrix with all of the like coordinates of where everything's been drawn.
Yeah, no, there's not really, there's not as much checking with that going on, but like as far as I've seen in our practices, both locally and deployed, it actually broadcasts the data pretty seamlessly, yeah.
The other question I have is, so thinking about this as a game for early communicators, right? So young children with autism may struggle with drawing. Like that might be something that they're not great with. I love the idea that they can maybe play both roles in this game. So one of the ideas you might want to think about is for some players having like a dotted outline that they're tracing as opposed to drawing like, freehand. You would need some way of doing that in a varied enough way that the guessing isn't obvious, because if you play like 2 rounds, it's like, okay, that's the outline for whatever, you could guess it immediately. But that might be kind of an extension for this, is like maybe some kind of procedurally generated tracing that they could do.
Yeah, that was one thing we definitely implemented in our game, is to reduce repetition. So a lot of our prompts have multiple prompts. So the gloves that show up as a guessing prompt, you will get different images in each round.
Oh, nice, that's really cool. Yeah, but I love to see all pulled together. Yeah, this is like incredible, absolutely.
Anything else?
Would you work on, accessibility applications, AAC software in the future? Is that something that you're like now, you never heard of it before and now you're interested in it?
Yeah, I think that was it was a really interesting challenge, because I think a lot of people, when they're doing tasks for school, like they don't have accessibility in mind, or like, I don't know, I've never, like for software design, we weren't thinking about accessibility, but now we have to be like really hyper focused on that. So I think it was a good experience for sure.
Yeah, I think it was really, the prompt was like open-ended enough to be creative in how you apply accessibility into like a game to get collaboration among students. So I really like that prompt.
Yeah, I really need to have more questions in mind. Does the class have any questions?
It's really great because I have been seeing the team demo since the first one until now, and you guys have so far, and pretty great.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. I also just want to appreciate that you guys got the Apple Pencil portion working, because that would have been really disastrous.
Yeah. Definitely want to get this working like since the last week. That was a big priority. It was high on the Jira board.
Yeah. How did you end up?
I did not know, by the way. So I was not a bringer in this.
Yeah. How did you end up getting that working or testing it? Like, did anyone have an iPad, or how did that work?
So we were able to, with hosting our Vue project, we can actually host it across the network locally. So that's kind of what we did, is we were able to connect to the hosted front end from a mobile device just by the IP address of like whoever's hosting the front end.
The bigger hassle, I would say, was not even actually like getting it working in the first place. It was kind of just like centering where like your finger would touch on, because at times we had this issue for both the touchscreen and the mouse, where you would click and then drag, but the stroke wouldn't even start exactly where you're placing it.
Yeah. It's actually like a lot of design work just around that kind of idea, because it's not pixel perfect, but it feels pixel perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't really have any more questions. I think the demo was super cool, and like I said, I really enjoyed that you invited the audience, that's pretty gutsy. So, yeah, I wish you guys luck, and we will move to the next demo. Great job, guys. Okay, I think we got EduCode next, right? All right, EduCode. Like I said, cupcakes and cookies are there.
Actually, you need to interact, right? You want to put yours on the table right there? No, or right there. Yeah, that's it. You want to keep your laptop here and then or I can
Yeah, this is good. Good.
Hi everyone, thank you again for coming. My name is Ryan. This is Larry, Mir, Vincent, Kushi, and Sarkar, and this is our group project, EduCode. So what EduCode is it's an AI-powered coding assistant that helps people code faster by giving auto-filling code suggestions. Now, what separates our project from other software like GitHub Copilot is that it's designed for a classroom setting. And in this classroom setting, we give, our program gives intervention techniques like giving incorrect code suggestions and locking out users if they accept too many incorrect suggestions, and on top of explanations of why those incorrect suggestions are incorrect. But basically, and also it features rich logging capabilities so that we can understand, we can analyze how fast users react to incorrect or correct code suggestions, and among other research opportunities there. So we'll now demonstrate. So I'll pass it off to Larry.
All right, so I have an assignment for Vincent, and in order for him to work on it, I want him to use the EduCode extension with this assignment, so he'll have to sign in using GitHub and then join my classroom with my educator code.
Okay, so this is the prompt that you get when you install EduCode on your machine. So I'm just going to follow these prompts, which it'll take me to GitHub where I have to authorize with my account. So I'll click authorize for VS Code, click this prompt to bring me back to my VS Code window, and then I am prompted for an educator code.
All right, so it's 774-691-85.
Okay, it looks like I'm in, and what's the first function?
All right, the first function is valid palindrome.
Okay, that looks good to me, and what's the next one?
All right, valid anagram.
I don't really know where to start off with that, so I'm going to use the comment feature with EduCode, and I can just type in a prompt into a comment in whatever coding language that you're using. So I'm going to go create a function to determine a valid anagram. Okay, it looks good to me. With this line right here, though, I'm not really sure what it does, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that line and use the Ask EduCode feature. And with this feature, I'm just going to paste that line into the prompt and click Ask. And what it's doing right here, it's creating a description of that line within the code. And here it is. And if you go ahead and read that, it'll go in depth with what that line is doing. So I'm going to go back to the window, and what's the next one?
All right, the next one is to insert a token in a string at a given position.
Okay. Do that and pass in a string, a token, and a position. Okay, it looks good to me. It turns out that it was incorrect, so I'm going to go ahead and click See Explanation right here. And then EduCode creates an explanation of your incorrect code suggestion, which you could read right here and then see what's wrong with the code. Okay, and what's the next one?
Next one is the reverse a string.
All right. Pass in a string. Okay, looks good to me. But it turns out it was incorrect, and now my code suggestions are locked out. So now I'm gonna go give it to Larry.
Okay, so I'm gonna, So I see that it took you 1.7 seconds to accept that suggestion. Did you really look over it?
Honestly, no, I just took what the AI was giving me there without really looking.
Okay, so I won't block you this time, but be careful because as you, the more incorrect suggestions you accept, the further your timer gets increased, and you'll also have a higher chance of getting incorrect suggestions.
Got it.
So let's see how the rest of my class is doing.
So over here on the top left, we can see a line graph that shows all the students in the class. As of right now, it's showing their suggested suggestions. We can toggle between that and the suggestions that they've actually accepted, and then we can go between that, the weekly view, monthly views. Then on the top right, we could see the overall times, the averages for how long it takes people to accept these suggestions. We can see overall for accepted and rejected, and then we can also break it down by student. Under that, we can see the statistics for Larry's class, as well as the overall acceptance for all EduCode users, just as a benchmark. Then over to the left, we can see the difference between the suggestions that users are interacting with. So let's say the accepted correct suggestions, accepted incorrects, rejected corrects, and rejected incorrects. And then if we want to compare separate fields, we can also eliminate specific fields that we don't want to see. Moving on, we just have like an easy visual way to see how many suggestions each user is getting. It's kind of a good way to see how much a user is actually using the extension. We're able to see how many suggestions they're getting. As we move down, we're able to see all of the logs for all the students inside Larry's classroom. So we see if the suggestion was accepted or rejected, who did the accepting or rejecting, what file they're working in, how long it takes them to actually interact with the suggestion, and then when they're actually interacting with it. As we go down, we'll see the last graph, just a suggestion breakdown for the overall users in Larry's class, as well as each specific student, and we'll see the breakdown for everything that they've accepted or rejected.
All right, so you can go ahead and finish your assignment.
Okay. And with the code suggestion feature, where it locks you out, it shows you the correct version of how to complete your function. So I'm gonna go back and complete that here. Okay. And now it's a good time for me to check my metrics. So I'm gonna go down and click the EduCode button at the bottom, and I'm gonna hand it off to Kushi to walk you through that.
So I will be going over the student dashboard metrics. So it provides detailed insights into the student coding activity and their performances. So first we see the user activity. That is, so here from here you can see how many suggestions were suggested to the student, and you can also see how many of them were accepted. And next to it, there is a drop-down menu from where a student can see their daily, weekly, and monthly activity. Next, we have a per user activity breakdown. So this breakdown categorizes each action based on the correctness, helping educator not only understand how often student is interacting with the suggestion, but also the accuracy of their responses by showing whether the accepted or the rejected suggestions were correct or incorrect. Moving forward, we see the coding logs of a student. So this shows the event type, whether it is presented, accepted, or rejected, along with the date and the timestamp. And if you click on one of these entries, you can also see the file name and what code suggestion was presented to them, and also how long did it take for them to respond to it. We also have action time for the particular students, so they can see the overall accepted or rejected time. And the dashboard also gives us the overall personal acceptance and rejection rate as well. Next, we have the daily user activity. So this shows the number of suggestions suggested to the user and how many of them were accepted or rejected by the user. And finally, we have the suggestion breakdown for a student. So this pie graph shows how many suggestions were accepted, whether it was correct or incorrect, and you can also see your overall score for each event type. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and we are happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question. Does this capture the type of questions in the matrix like that? It's like you're getting right or wrong. Is that a possibility? Like if you're doing if it's suggesting a function versus like a I don't know something else. I was just
Yeah. So you mean like when we ask for a suggestion, you're saying like if it's a comment that we're asking for, like something like that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm just sort of curious because overall right now I'm seeing is that, I'm seeing the number of questions right and wrong. And I'm curious because I'm doing research here and I'm thinking, is it based on what's being presented to me versus what is actually, like, I know,
Right,
like I can see me. I mean, I'm sort of maybe me, so sort of like whatever. I might look at something and go, and I might see it as being correct just because I've written that 7 dozen times. And it's just my, I don't know, hubris to think, oh, of course I already read, like that's it's going to be right. Versus something where I guess what I'm asking is there some way of getting more granular with the data? If you have that.
Yeah, like so I think it's actually a really, really great question. So like, are the types of suggestions kind of logged, or is there any way of being able to tell what is being outputted based off of the questions that you're asking?
You mean, are we differentiating between whether the code suggestion is a function, or is it just like a single line, or is it not exactly?
Yeah, not at the moment. No.
Yeah. What would you say the complexity of like implementing something like that would be like to figure out what it's doing? Like how would you like pseudocode that?
Most likely probably like through suggestion length would probably be like a good one. Like if you're just autofilling a line, that's like probably a good way to tell between a line and a whole function, but like I'm not really sure how it'd start with
Maybe
that.
instead of just the students' code logs, there could be a different section of maybe it detects that it's a comment and then it stores the question. Like using the comment feature, it would just be the prompt that you're asking for, and they could just store it into there, maybe with the response.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
I just like when I saw this, it just gave me all kinds of other ideas and thinking. It's very cool to be able to see a project like this that likes to build more.
It's also like it is distinct like in itself on how you kind of deliver the suggestions or the completions. It is different. What would you say you feel like sets this apart with the most, or what were some of like the design choices that you were really firm about with this?
So like the one main thing that we were focused on is that GitHub Copilot works really well to do these sorts of things like autocomplete and keeping you inside the app. Like you can ask questions to GitHub Copilot and it'll explain it, and you don't have to leave VS Code and go to like ChatGPT or something. Also with like comment suggestions, like it's very good at knowing when it should suggest things and like when it shouldn't, and also not suggesting things too quickly. So that's something that we have been like fighting on, like working on, but it's like a very subjective thing on like when you want a suggestion. So it's really hard to like fine tune that. But the one thing that we did want to really focus on was the speed of suggestions. Like we don't want people waiting there for like 2-3 seconds for a suggestion. like as soon as you press enter, like after you define a function, that's when most people would want a suggestion. So we try to make sure that those are done like pretty rapid.
How did you get it so fast? Spoil the secret sauce. Yeah.
Honestly, the main thing is like keeping a very low debounce time, and then also caching. So if it's already seen that text before, in that same exact place, it'll just return whatever the old like result was. So like let's say you backspace and then you press enter again, like there's no point of going and getting another suggestion. You might as well return the same exact thing again.
Nice. It shows, yeah.
So did y'all end up looking into model distillation at all? Was that something that your team put
No,
up?
no, we did not. So the reason was like we did have our own LLM that we were working with, like deployed in Temple's GPU server, but Gemini just worked so much better for us, and in the time that we had, we didn't have time to like try to train another model, but we were still working with like the features and stuff like that.
Actually, follow-up question to that. So, because you were using my GPU server,
Yeah.
What would you suggest? Like, what would the resources need to be changed in order for that machine to like work for for this kind of work? Yeah.
For you.
So, I guess, well, for this project, you don't really need a very high-end LLM, so, but maybe just a better GPU.
A modern GPU.
Yeah.
What specifically was like kind of? I know it's an old GPU, but it's interesting because it's kind of like aged well as a machine. Usually, my students are like, "Oh yeah, it works for every project. It's great. It's better than working locally." But this semester, with all these large language model projects, it seems to be showing its age. Like, what is actually constricting it the most? It's a Titan XP from 2017. So, yeah.
I guess, like, from what I know, I just know usually you want a lot of memory in your GPU. That's so.
I mean, what we noticed, like from like the results we were getting and things like that, they like this has nothing to do with like the GPU. It probably has to do with like our deployment or what LM we chose. But like, they're very verbose answers. Like even if we specified completely like don't put any explanation, just give us the code. Like whatever prompt engineering we did, we'd always get like a paragraph of explanation before we'd see any code. It would also take a little longer, which we didn't expect. We thought that a locally deployed one would be a bit quicker, but that wasn't the case for us.
What was the inference time for the local? Roughly?
Yeah, it was more than a second for sure. Yeah, like yeah, we like it was very noticeable. Like you'd sit there waiting for a response, and for Gemini, like you would have a response before you even decided you needed a result.
So I have just one main question. I'm kind of thinking about the two applications, and it's really cool that they went side by side and that they ended up being quite different. One of the biggest differences I see is that it feels like y'all have led a lot more into like being able to understand each individual student's interactions. I love the example that you gave earlier where like the instructor actually comes over and unlocks it for you, right? Yeah. That's very different, I think, from like you being able to go into a web app and unlock it yourself. And I'm wondering, like, A, was that an intentional decision to kind of focus more on those like instructor-student interactions and all? And are there any kind of consequences or challenges that brings up for you?
So we figured that like if this is used in like research or studies, like there's going to be some supervisor or something there in the classroom, and you wouldn't want to waste like that much time. Like let's say, so we have progressive like lockouts, so they'll increase in time, and if it's the third time that somebody's getting locked out, you probably don't want to waste 10 minutes like just sitting there not collecting data from a student or whatever the case may be. But the challenges that it raised is like these updates do need to be in real time. Like you can't always have to refresh a page just to get an update about a student's status. So we did end up using WebSockets. We ended up using Socket.io too, and then we've added like live logs as well, so that you should be able to see like the logs while students are like typing or accepting or rejecting suggestions.
I think it's a really unique feature here, right? And I think if both of these two things were to go forward as, like, let's say products, one of the things that would be really interesting here is to lean into that real-time interaction and kind of thinking about different ways that, like, for instance, if someone gets locked out, or maybe multiple people are locked out at the same time, sending a notification to those students and saying, hey, these two students got locked out, why don't you go sit together and work together for the next 10 minutes or so. So there might be interesting ways of thinking about, like, those in-classroom interactions that I think, like, the other version of this application aren't really in a position to explore that sort of, like, real-time interaction, classroom dynamics sort of angle. So I feel like that could be something that really makes this version very unique compared to the other version that we saw today.
Oh, one other thing about the demo that I really love, the after-school special kind of style of like, hey, don't accept too many coding suggestions. I thought that was super funny, and it worked really well to like describe what the app was doing. So great job. If there's no other questions, great job. We'll move to our last demo, which is StoryQuest.
Here it goes. Okay.
What do you test? I did a test.
Music.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be presenting our game, StoryQuest. So just as a little bit of intro before we start this game, this game is mainly targeted towards children, and we're trying to increase communication and collaboration between children playing the game. What makes it different from other games is that it incorporates AAC, and for the unfamiliar, AAC stands for Alternative and Augmentative Communication. That's any method of communication that supports or replaces verbal speech. In our game, we utilize an AAC tablet, which I know this was said earlier before, but it's a tablet that uses text-to-speech. So you click a button, it has an image, and then it says that speech out loud. So that's what makes it different from other cloze phrase or fill-in-the-phrase games like Mad Libs. In our setting, we're mainly going to be using this in a classroom, and people who would utilize AAC in a classroom are often children who are autistic or otherwise nonverbal or have some other form of communication disorder. So just as a disclaimer, our team is going to be demoing this for you today, but we are not the primary users or the primary audience for the game. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. So from there, I'm going to go into the homepage, as you can see right here. First off, our URL, we have storyquest.world, so it's very easy for children to see and find, and I'm going to hand off to Tiffany for the rest of the homepage.
So here on the homepage, everything is animated here from the title to the buttons. This is to create a engaging screen for children to interact with as motion draws attention. Next, on the bottom left corner, we have a button labeled music. When
Music.
you click on it, when you click it, it'll say music, and then when you click on the play button, the theme music will begin to play. And then next, we have an adjustable volume slider. You can make it higher or lower, and then you click stop, which will end the music. When you refresh the page, it will be set to the default off position for the music. Next, we have two main ways to interact with the app. So if you want to host a room, you click the create room button.
Let's create a And then you game.
You click the exit button and go back.
Exit.
Then if you want to join a room session, you click the join room button.
Please grab your tablet and follow the pictures on the screen to scan the QR code using the camera. Exit.
Now our teammates here will demonstrate how to play a game next, and then after we'll ask for volunteers to play in our game.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna click the create room button.
Let's create a game.
All right, so we have 4 stories to choose from. We have Garden Adventure, Walk in the Forest, Under the Sea, and Space Adventure. I'm feeling Space Adventure today, so that's what we're gonna pick.
Space adventure.
So as you can see, when you click a button like that, it will read out the text out loud, so you have an audio cue as well as a visual cue. I think, Natalia, Shayna, do you guys want to play the game?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. 2 players.
2 players.
So for the next thing, we have difficulty. We have easy, medium, hard. Each of these has alternate text.
Easy mode. Medium mode. Hard mode. 12
And it also reads
sentences.
it out loud. It also reads it out loud. So easy is 4 sentences, medium is 8, and hard is 12. So we're going to pick easy.
Easy mode.
All right, so this is the summary screen. You can see what story you chose, the number of players, and the difficulty. Do you think we're ready to start our adventure?
I don't feel like playing Space Adventure.
Okay, so then we can go back.
Change something. Go back. Go back.
What story do you want?
Walk in the forest.
Walk in the forest. 2 easy mode. Medium. Easy mode. Easy mode.
All right, so from there you can see we can go back and change something if it's not exactly what we want in that moment. So now we're going to start our adventure.
Start
So from here you got to a page that has a QR code and a diagram that shows people how to scan. This is the host page. So the next part that we're going to do is we have to switch to tablet mode so we can show you how to join a room from that tablet. Please don't scan this QR code up here because right now it's us doing the game. Thank you very much. So we're going to switch to tablet really quickly and then move on. Go.
Can we see on the Zoom?
All right, so now that we switched to tablet view, we can click the join room button. And once you've clicked the button, you can get an audio cue with instructions. And on the tablet, you'll be asked to give permission for the camera to start. And once you've granted it, the back camera will automatically turn on for you. There you go. So alongside with the audio cue, we have a diagram that directs users towards what they should be doing on this page, which they can scan the QR code, and this is available for all reading levels due to the nature of the images. And once the QR code is in view, it'll either scan automatically, or if not detected, you can click the capture manually to scan. If you point the QR code away, it won't capture. So this will bring us to a screen where, with a button, and where you can click Start Game. Once I've clicked it, Natalia can choose an avatar. I think we'll go with the tiger up there. Next, she can click the checkbox at the bottom, which will bring me to a waiting screen in the gameplay room. Here we can see we're waiting for another player to join. Shayna, can you join so we can start the game?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we have all our players in the game room, the waiting for X amount of players button changes to a play button. Once we click the play button, the first sentence of the story will play, and then it will be player one's turn. As you can see, oh, does it not show your audio?
I don't think sharing the audio.
Oh boy. Okay, well, once we click the play button, the first sentence of the story will play, and then it will be player one's turn. No, it's fine. As you can see, there are visual cues to show whose player's turn it is. With the that's
Sorry.
disconnect audio.
The red button?
Yeah.
I did more.
There you go.
Is it?
You're good. You should be good now. Yep, this one. Turn it over.
Here, do you want to do that?
Sound effects.
Sorry about that, guys. It was working earlier.
It was working.
Gotcha.
I have no idea either. Oh, you're good here. Sharing audio. just return to the app. It should work.
I look in the sky and see it.
Yeah, it worked before.
Yeah.
Can you turn it up or?
But maybe, where is the microphone? Maybe you can hear it. We'll keep going.
I look in the sky and see it.
And once we click the play button, the first sentence of the story played, and then it was Natalia's turn. As you can see, there are visual cues to show whose player's turn it is based on the avatar and the player number. So it's Natalia's turn, so they'll click an AAC button.
On the airplane.
Airplane.
As you can see, what we clicked was read out loud, and then the next sentence was read out loud as well. Now that Natalia is gone, let's have them try and go again.
No, Shayna's turn.
No, it's still your turn. Try again. As you can see, she can't try again because it grayed out her AAC keyboard, indicating that turn taking is taking place. We also want to highlight the story display section. The text is shown at the bottom. Only the sentence that is currently supposed to be completed and the sentence that was previously completed are shown on the screen to help keep focus on the current turn. At the end of the game, the entire story will be shown and read out loud. Being that turn taking is a large focus of the game, it is important to highlight how it was developed with AAC students in mind. During the gameplay, we indicated to each player that it's their turn with text and visual cues surrounding their chosen avatar. We also have a message that shows players when they're waiting for the other player to complete their turn. Shayna, you just clicked right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And this ensures teamwork and a collaborative experience with the other users. As you can see on the screen, there are pulsating images to help keep the captivation of the student so they can continue being entertained while they game. And also, from here, we can continue pressing AAC buttons to complete the cloze phrases until the story is complete. But right now, we want to show that.
Tiger face. It's your turn.
So after 30 seconds, it will remind you that it's your turn. And now we can continue playing until we finish the game. So Natalia?
Treasure.
To the right, there is a Shayna.
In the forest, I look in the sky and see an airplane. On the path there is a bear. On our left we can see a treasure. To our right there is a knight. The end.
And then CA.
In the forest, I look in the sky
Story
and see
completed page. And then auto redirect. So refresh. So once the game was completed, you saw the entire story was read out loud and shown again. The users were presented with a summary screen showing their avatar and the numbers of lines they filled in, with an engaging UI for AAC students and a small completion string that congratulates them for completing the game. We also added a timer just so they will be brought back to the home screen automatically. So now that we did that, let's try playing 4 players.
So now we're gonna do a little bit of audience engagement. We're gonna ask you guys to help us complete this story.
Okay. Share sound too. Okay. Now that we've ran through a short game by ourselves, we're going to ask for volunteers from the crowd, like Molly just said. First, let's choose a story. We have 4 choices to choose from. 4 stories to choose from. Create room.
Let's create a game.
The garden adventure, walk in the forest, under the sea, and space adventure. Does anybody have any preference? I like space adventure.
Space adventure.
Space adventure.
Space adventure.
Guys, keep it down.
All 4 of us are going to be playing.
4 players.
And for difficulty level, let's just do
Medium
medium so
mode.
we're not
Medium mode.
taking up too much time. Here we can see the summary screen again, and now let's hit start adventure.
Start.
Again. Oh, you're playing, Professor? All right. Okay, you guys can play. Who's sharing the screen? Are you ready?
Yep.
Going in.
So how many we have in there?
So,
Cindy, you scan it too?
Professor wants to play.
Do you want? You can wait.
Yeah,
Cindy.
we scan it for you and you
We
can play.
scan it
Yeah.
for you. And
It's on the screen too. All right, are you good?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna scan it again. Right. There you go. Come on, camera.
If it doesn't work, you can also use a regular
Here we
device
go.
camera, just in case.
I probably should have done that instead of running up to the front like that.
Here you can see Natalia's screen again. She's picking unicorn.
Oh, should I click start game?
Yeah. And then that's where your avatar.
So you can see like the other avatars are grayed out, so you can't pick the same avatar as somebody else.
And as when you're waiting on the waiting room, you can see the popping up the little screens as well. So now we can start the game.
We are traveling through space and sought out N.
On the moon, we discovered a cat.
Cow.
The captain told us to watch out for a floating.
You're playing not working?
Oh, it plays now? Or just hit one? Just hit once? Yeah, there you go.
We see a color.
Rainbow.
Another blue.
Wizard.
We are traveling through space and sought out an alien. On the moon, we discovered a N. The captain told us to watch out for a floating balloon. We see a colorful balloon. Suddenly, something flew by us. It was a N. Space dragon. Under the moon, we spotted a N. Wizard. Space is a place full of feathers. S. Hiding on the right, we spotted a N UFO. The end. We are traveling through space and sought out an alien.
And be sure to hit refresh just so that.
But yeah, so that's our game StoryQuest. Thank you guys so much for playing with us. And we open the floor to any questions or comments or concerns.
What changes in the different levels?
The amount of sentences.
From easy to hard.
Yeah, that's actually.
It's the amount of sentences for each student. Initially, we wanted to work on more collaboration based, but we had to gear it towards the students, so we just went with a number of sentences that they fill in throughout the game.
Yeah.
I could answer the question if you want about what was the hardest part right off the bat. If you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. What is the hardest part?
For
Yeah.
me personally, I think Shayna, you're gonna have something too because she did the most work, which is shout out her. But the hardest part for me was synchronizing the speeches just so they flowed in the correct manner, and it was read out loud correctly. That was the hardest part for me. We used at first we thought about using APIs. Everything I found was paid for, and I didn't want to pay more. Then we ended up using speech synthesis, just using the web. And with that, we came like system settings that were all problems, and then synchronization settings. Yeah, that was the hardest part for me. Jana, do you have anything with the Firebase?
Yeah, so with the Firebase, basically like, because we had to take snapshots of like the game state, like to do the turn taking. So at first it was like really like messy, but we figured out how to get it working. Before, like it wasn't like registering like player turns and stuff. What else? Oh yeah.
Josh is
Yeah, that was really it. Just the turn taking aspect and like making sure that it got the game state correct. So we had to like keep track of like a lot of different things during the game so that it would snapshot and the other person could see like everything that's happening at the same time and making it synchronized. Yeah.
Anything else?
I've got a bit of a comment. I really appreciated the attention to detail, especially around bits around accessibility. From the beginning of the presentation, you also disclosed like we're not actual users of this game. I thought that was a really great way of starting the presentation as well. But going through all of the redundant sort of visual and audio coding, I thought was really effective. Thinking about different ways that you can enable and disable different parts or draw their attention through sort of flashing. I think these are all just like such like small things that are going to have such a huge impact on this specific user group. So I thought y'all did that all like really, really extremely well. Like I don't have a comment, I have a question, just a comment, but I thought all of that was really great.
One of our worries was always like, we are not making the app for us. We are making for the kids with difficulties and like with attention and everything. So we always like, oh no, like this is not gonna work. This would be good for us, but it's not gonna work for a kid. So I have 2 kids, so I always thinking about them. Like my kid was gonna flip and not pay attention at all on this. So I always get back to like, yeah, it's for kids.
Yeah. How did you think through some of these like aspects or challenges with like thinking about people that you aren't? Like these user personas of like autistic children and just children. How did you think through those design choices?
I could take that one, right? Initially, we didn't really know a lot about AAC students. And when Cindy was here, we asked her for resources, and we also asked you. Then, just Googling stuff, how those kids work, and then on top of that, as Natalia said, we also like, hopefully we didn't burden them too much, but we did want to ask them like, hey, do you like the way this looks? And she was able to give us feedback, especially on the way like it looked on the homepage, like for the AAC buttons especially. And our initial plan was to just copy the model from the AAC tablets themselves and just use that. But then Natalia had the idea of like actually using, I think it was Canva AI, to like actually make it like more. It was still going to be basically the same functionality, but we wanted it to look nice. Like
It will look better in the background of the stories.
Yeah, like I don't think the regular AAC keyboard has like a space dog button, but I did like the fact that we had that. That's why I like the Space Adventure one. We also had a Space Cat. So.
Space cat, space dog.
Yeah, that is also something we got from Cindy when we were talking to her. She's like, yes, the AAC board is the most accepted version of communicating for people with who use AAC, but just because it is the most accepted doesn't mean that that is where we should stop. So that's kind of what we were leaning into with that.
Yeah, and then so that answered a question preemptively about like how did y'all make the AAC board. So that's awesome that y'all expanded upon it and made it a little bit more, I guess, immersive. That it wasn't just stopping at what the symbols could be. And then how did y'all come up with the stories? Did y'all workshop them, write them together, or did they come from somewhere on the internet?
No, it just came out of my head. I just kept putting phrases in there like, I see on the light, and I thought about it like, it kind of can teach about directions as well, under the moon and to the left and to the right, near the tree. I kind of was thinking stuff like that.
Cool.
We also made sure to include like the and for certain words just so we can teach like, maybe not at this level, but if they're a little bit older so we can teach grammar and just make sure that even though if the speech to text doesn't match up, that visually they can see the text is what it's supposed to be. So if they were reading books, they would be able to see that it lines up as well.
What advice would you give to like future Capstone students that may work on AAC games or just AAC software in the future?
I would say like make sure you do your research first on like AAC kids. Sorry, and then what did I say? Really keep accessibility in mind because like the other group said, like you don't think about that like when you're using something. So like you have to like take everything into consideration, like every click, every visual. Like you have to think like how would this affect them. So just you have to pay attention to all the little details and yeah.
Put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
You guys had like a button on the top that I was jealous of for the accessibility ones. I wanted to implement that this week, but it fell through. I really like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was actually something that Ian suggested. It was a widget from UserWay. You can just go. You can go to the UserWay website, and they'll give you a small script to include in your code.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Thank you. User away. Got that.
I am running out of questions. So you would recommend working on like AAC games in the future or AAC projects?
For the Capstone?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exactly what Jamie said. Do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. How about beyond the Capstone? Are you interested in working on more projects like this, or even going into research? Any?
Me personally, because I think yes.
I even
definitely
sent talk to Cindy already about it. I really like it. I really enjoy it, like doing the tablet and knowing that it'll be useful for these kids, and like me as a mama, is really nice to have like stuff for kids like that.
Yeah, for everything that, but it's going into the capstone this semester from last semester, I thought we were gonna like vote for something, and I was just gonna suggest like something that we all use, like a note-taking app. It's really different, like using AAC students, so like, because like that actually helps. I think we can all make a note-taking app, but like it means different to like actually help people. So
Awesome. That's really great to hear. There's so much to unpack about all these projects actually, because they were all really amazing, and this this initiative to helping people, having this empathy is really cool, and I hope it takes you far in the future. Yeah, it's really impressive just to see all of these apps just kind of come together, and then yeah, you're building something really impactful here. So yeah, really. We're probably going to have to wrap up because we're really over time. But thank you all for hanging out. It's been an amazing semester. You guys are great. I really wish all of you luck in whether you're going into industry, graduate studies, whatever you do. Reach out to me, find me on LinkedIn. Keep in touch. And hopefully we'll work together again in the future somehow. But yeah, great job everyone, and great job StoryQuest.
should I ask about the documents now? Should I ask about the documents?
Yes. Oh, you're gonna ask about the testing that I did? So